let's see. Is everything set up correctly? Your audience will see it in a moment. Get ready. Alright, that's all fine and dandy. No. There we are. Alright, we are in business, I do believe. Sorry. Alright. The internet can totally see you now to stop. Okay, the AMA is apparently going to start in 8 minutes. So, if there's anyone there listening now, hey, welcome to my channel. Hope you have fun. Hope we have a lot of fun here with this little EA controversy. Nah, none of you are here. Live chat is completely dead. Then again, it isn't really scheduled yet. There's quite a delay on this video. Alright, let's get to business. What the? Postcard. Right. Well, apparently one of you is watching. So, thank you, the one person. I'm pretty sure that's me. Yeah, I'm probably the only one. Setting a stream configured with the right key. Right. Well, that's because I wasn't recording it yet. Indeedy, things appears to be going just fine. Except for the huge delay. Hope you guys enjoy this. I don't do live streams very often, especially talking. The only live stream I did prior to this was when I was just live streaming Ghost. This is probably the first where I'm actually the one talking, so it's very different. Lowest user score of all time, ha ha ha. Even Game Informer thinks the microtransactions are too much. Wall Street is noticing the backlash. Mods delete top voted question in AMA. Wow, it's already gonna prove great, isn't it? Just so beautiful, isn't it? You know it's gonna be great when one of the comments is already deleted. This post has been up for 90 minutes and we can't allow these massive essays to fill up the top 50 because they'll take so much time to address. It's rude and unreasonable to expect the devs to read or answer your 5-paragraph question. The now infamous Reddit comment stated that the progression system was created to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment. Because if you spend 28 hours on a game, you're supposed to feel really accomplished that it took you that long to unlock all of the characters. Because, you know, you're supposed to be playing a game that long to unlock everything you want. This is so stupid. Ah, look, three people are watching. That's good. Hello to anyone who may be watching. I'm just gonna pop out the chat. Hey, if there's any of you who are watching who are logged in, feel free to talk to me in the live chat. Let's get this show on the road. Hey? I can see you right here. No, wait, not that. Alright, information about the AMA. Who will be answering questions? John, Dennis, and Paul. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because I'm pretty sure I'll butcher it. Executive producer. Associate... You know what? I think I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this. Just because I'm squishing a 1080p display into 720p, so you guys would probably appreciate it a little bit more if I made it a little easier for you to keep up. There we go. How's that? Can you read that just fine? I hope you can. Anyway, what's up? Wow, I'm an idiot. I just realized what that was, of course. Well, we got 3 minutes. So, what's up? To all 2 of you, because I assume that YouTube is still counting me as a viewer, which seems kind of stupid, but... Oh, 7 watching. There are 6 of you now. Awesome. Alright then. Let's get this started. Oh, holy crap, what the hell happened to this? Got a little too zoomed in. Let me just fix that. My bad. I guess it was delayed. There we go. Yes, there we go. And this is from the perspective of an old school FPS gamer. I'm not really the kind of person who played a lot of modern FPSs. I mean, I played the first Modern Warfare. I played Crysis. I've obviously played Doom 2016. There aren't that many brand new FPSs I played. Yeah, I just didn't really care enough. You probably extrapolated that. Okay, do not post personal details, obviously, absolutely no harassment. Do not post spam, do not post any content not directly related, do not share pirated software. No rage bait or trolling, low effort content will be removed at the discretion of the moderators. So basically, if they decide it's bad, it'll be bad. Great! Even Game Informer thinks the microtransactions are too much. Well, we've still got 2 more minutes. A door slides open to reveal the glow of a red lightsaber backed by the silhouette of Darth Vader. I fire my blaster and he nonchalantly takes a shot to the chest. He raises his hand and I levitate with it, my throat closing as I inch forward. The spectacle of power is impressive as my life fades away. The only thing I think of is how much does that player spend to unlock the 3rd level of Punishing Grip. Oh, that's great. Diseased by an insidious microtransaction model that creates an uneven battlefield, favoring those who are willing to spend real money to gain an edge over players who are just here to enjoy the Star Wars experience. Given just how slowly in-game currency is dulled out, the notion of keeping up through extensive grinding isn't realistic. This is especially true of star cards, which unlock new abilities, boosts, and upgrades for each class and hero, since they are tucked away in expensive loot crates or eat up rare crafting materials, which you mostly get in crates. The benefits from the star cards range from slight bumps like explosive damage protection increasing from 15% to 17.5% to game changers like a boost that increased the rate battle points are earned by 20%. This is a huge deal as battle points allow players to control vehicles and heroes that rack up kills and turn the tide of war. With each death on the battlefield, players see which card their opponent is using, a design that plants the seed of I need those cards. Well, obviously, that's how it works. Because EA wants the money. They want more money. We've got to have money. Alright. It's 12:30, so it should have started. So, let's see. Let's see where this AMA actually is. Alright. It said that the AMA takes place on the subreddit, but I don't know if that's the forum or what. I don't understand this. I mean, it looks like a forum. That's the only unfortunate thing about it. I guess top. To flip the narrative, don't play in their ploy, be calm and respectful, or the only news will be about how crazy and unreasonable we are. That is a very good point. Don't go crazy. I mean, yeah, it's incredibly stupid, but, you know, try to act civil so that you don't make the gaming community look bad, and then you're giving EA a pass. Because they can basically say, well, everyone who hates it is just a raving lunatic. So, clearly it's not such a bad thing. Game Informer review. Looky what EA Blake Jorgensen just said. Andrew Rayner of Game Informer on Twitter. You can see the greatness. It's just diseased by microtransactions. Yeah, the standard stuff. Alright. Let me just try to get myself acquainted here. Yes, I can increase the volume for your info. Is that better? Thank you for informing me. Sorry about that. Okay. This post has been up for 90 minutes. The infamous Reddit comment. These numbers are just to upgrade all star cards from level 3 to level 4. I appreciate you guys having such faith in me. Seriously. 10,000 hours to master a skill. Unlocking everything in half that time seems pretty generous. Note that this is sarcasm. Alright. For you in this comment. That's funny. And I'm thinking about it from the perspective of someone who's mostly played older games where everything was unlocked. Let's just hope this turns out as a win for the gaming and the Star Wars community. I was so looking forward to this game, but this made me scared for buying the game. Oh, you and me both, man. I mean, like I said, I haven't played that many brand new games, but this crap is just getting out of hand. I can understand if it's like little things like cosmetic crap that doesn't really matter, but they're making it so that you have to buy DLC or you're at a disadvantage. Like if you want to experience the game in any real capacity, you got to pay up extra beyond what you already bought for the full game, which is ridiculous to me. I was okay with microtransactions when they were part of a free-to-play game. Embrace the dark side. Well, I guess this is the dark side. They're the Empire. They're the Sith. They just want to squeeze everyone. You do not yet know the power of the dark side. And no one ever will because he takes too damn long to unlock. EA only cares if EA wins. Well, that's true. But there is one way to make EA sweat a little, and that is to hit their bottom line. That's pretty much all you've got. As a busy college student, this is the thing that bothers me. I don't have hours upon hours to pour into a game to unlock everything. That's very true. People are very busy. When I do have a chance to kick back and relax, I don't want to feel the stress of grinding my way through XP to level up my character to unlock new weapons when all I'm doing is playing offline against AI. Man, that's kind of true. I can understand if it's an RPG like Final Fantasy or Pokemon or something where you have to grind, but this kind of thing, you shouldn't have to grind just to be competitive. It's supposed to be a first-person shooter. The game is actually great fun. That's the worst thing. DICE makes great games. EA just shaft customers. Yeah, consumers. Yeah, and that's another thing. I don't think it's entirely fair to the developers that people they want to trash on them for no reason. They want to send them all the crap when really, it's executives on top of EA's chain that's pulling all this crap. They're the ones, pulling the strings and saying, hey, dance, puppet, dance. The developers that are getting all the crap, they're just trying to make good games. EA's the one doing this crap and nobody's talking to them. So yeah, it doesn't seem fair to them. Don't go trashing on the developers. If you want to trash on someone, figure out who owns EA and address your complaints to them. Or better yet, address your complaints to Disney because they own Star Wars. Just say to them, hey, look, EA is making your series look bad. It's given it a bad reputation, and then I guarantee you, EA will be pissing themselves because Disney will say, "Oh, you're not representing our franchise. You're making it look bad. You're giving it a bad rep." Because with most of EA's games, they own the license, so there's not much you can do other than just complain. But with Star Wars, they don't own that. You can just go right over their head and complain to Disney directly. Do you have any comment on Blake Jorgensen's claim that if they can keep people engaged in something they love, they can find ways to improve their experience and monetize it along the way, and that consumers don't mind it, which given the circumstances is proven to be less than true? Yeah, I'd like to see him answer that. First of all, as a community, we would like to thank you for putting so much effort into Star Wars Battlefront II. We want you to know, passive, because we generally want it to be good and we are excited to play it. Yeah, I'm not sure about this comment. I'm not going to say it's paid, but it seems like this guy may be trying a little too hard. We don't want the gameplay to be ruined. Okay, that's fair. This is our biggest downside. Loot boxes should be removed. Yes, this. DLC was bad enough, but when you started putting it behind loot boxes, you're basically gambling. I mean, yeah, you can say it's like getting packs of cards at the store, but let's be honest. It's basically a form of gambling because you don't get exactly what you want. To get exactly what you want, you gotta hope and pray that you just happen to get lucky, or you're just willing to spend a lot of money. Feels like a free mobile game, not a $60 through $80 AAA title. There should be absolutely no microtransactions that affect progression. While we recognize that you need money to continue creating free DLC, it should not come at the expense of fair gameplay. A compromise can be lifting loot boxes. Yeah, limit it to cosmetic items. That doesn't really matter. If it doesn't affect the gameplay, then who gives a crap? I mean, if you want to look... I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who are still willing to pay some money if they want to look a certain way, or if they want to have certain kind of cosmetics, but when you have upgrades, when you have actual abilities tied behind that crap, it just goes way too far. Do you think loot boxes entice a younger generation to gamble in later life? I'm not sure about that. I mean, it might, but I mean, the game's rated M, so EA's response would probably be, well, kids shouldn't be playing this game anyway, but let's face it, Star Wars is for a younger crowd. It always has been. They've got Star Wars toys all over the place. It's obviously marketed to kids, and there is a chance that a kid could see the loot boxes and they might get a good feeling out of getting the right loot box. I don't know. I mean, at a certain point, though, the parents should probably also be responsible, because I doubt that kid... If there's a young kid playing the game, that kid's probably using the parents' credit card, let's be honest. So, I mean, I guess to a certain extent you can say the parents are responsible, but EA is responsible too. I cashed out clean $200 on Dota 2 Lounge on a Dota 2 courier with special effect that I traded. No comment. Probably late to the AMA as PR team are drilling pre-written answer to these guys' heads. Yeah, that would seem to be the case. Your answer to this question will likely determine if I buy the game or not. Same here. Alright, let me read that. Is there any more to this? Oh, okay. Well, it got deleted, so there won't be an answer. Guess I won't be buying the game. Oh, that's great. Why the F did that comment get removed? It was legit questions and the highest voted comment. I'd like to know that too. What was the question? It got deleted. You can't have more than 3 questions in a single comment. I feel that isn't going to help keep this thread civil. Getting my popcorn ready. The Anita Sarkeesian version feels more relevant. No comment. This is going to be a shitstorm bukkake. Doesn't help the mods aren't making it any better deleting thoughtful questions. Yeah, that's true. I mean, at least, if it has more than 3 questions, then I would just answer the first 3, or whichever 3 that you want to answer. Which 3 that would be the most productive. That's what I would do. If it were me, and someone asked more than 3 questions and the rule was more than 3 questions, I'd pick the best 3 and then just answer those. Don't just delete it, because then you're basically giving a middle finger to people who are trying to be thoughtful about this, who are trying to be civil. The progression system sticks out as a clear, sore point in what otherwise looks like a very well-made game, to the point that, for many, it is souring the whole experience. Are you considering radical changes to the system? Is there anything you have decided you won't change? Well, I doubt there's anything they won't change if they think it'll get the money. But, you know, that's just me. On a related note, if the progression system is not radically altered, is there any reason for a casual player to even consider buying this game? Probably not, unless they're really rich. Yeah, new late-coming players. Because I think Activision had that freaking trademark, or they trademarked something to do with enticing people to get DLC by having players pitted up against them who have better gear, which seems ridiculous. Okay, at the end of the day, one of the greatest examples I look of is Mortal Kombat Armageddon. That game was one of my favorite my most played PS2 games, and it was so rich with unlockable content. Then the PS3 era came with online passes, which soon faded, but now we have this microtransaction 5 edition season pass nonsense because of development costs. Yeah, that's true. That is one thing that I heard about how development costs were getting too high for them to keep up with because they were improving the technology too quickly for them to keep up with. I remember back in the day, I know some people probably won't like me bringing this up, but you got games like Age of Empires and Doom where it wasn't so much DLC, it was expansion packs. You had Rise of Rome, it had its own campaigns, it had its own characters, it had its own civilizations, it was basically a standalone game. It actually felt like it was worth it. It wasn't, you know, horse armor or crap like that. I know a lot of people beat up on horse armor, but that's probably one of the big examples where this kind of started. It's like an alcohol commercial. If you show a positive outcome, it will make you think, I want that. Well, that's a good point. That is a good point, because if you got the kids spending their parents' credit card and they get something good out of it, then you might get addicted to that feel-good feeling about getting exactly what you want, and they might pursue that if they're that kind of person. I think there are certain people who are just prone to gambling. I don't think everyone is prone to gambling, but I think there are certain people, I believe they're referred to in the gaming industry as whales, which is kind of insulting that they're basically comparing them to aquatic life, but, you know, that's another story. Apparently they rely on whales who just want to buy everything because they're addicted. I mean, when you have to exploit addicts, you know that's bad. You know that looks bad for your company. Okay, this is the most important question so far. Stated that the progression system... Right, I think I read that already. Alright, any of the actual EA team answer any of these questions? Because I'm not seeing crap. Other than the one that mods nuked on EA's request, you know, the one with a fuck ton of votes, that asks a bunch of direct, non-astroturfy questions. These numbers are just to upgrade all star cards from levels 3 to 4. Are you telling me that 4,500 hours is an understatement? Jeez. They say it takes 10,000. My kid's spending my credit card. Don't give your stupid kid a credit card. He is a kid. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. My girlfriend was talking about a coworker who was so excited for the game, and I mentioned this whole shit show, and she said neither she nor he knew anything about it. That's mostly who's going to buy this game. People who don't know and don't care about this stuff, casuals. I'd love to think that we can make a real difference, but I'm just too jaded. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't blame you there, because it seems like even when the AAA game industry does something that gets backlash and they have to pull back from it, it seems as though, like, before you know it, they come back with it. What would be the ideal outcome that us actually realistic would you guys want from this AMA? Well, I would hope that they would give a lot of thought-provoking questions that actually force EA to justify this system that requires people to spend thousands of hours to unlock all the content in the game, and how with earlier games this crap didn't exist. They weren't thinking of ways to screw over the player to just gouge them out of as much money as possible. Earlier games were really about the achievement. I'm pretty sure RPGs don't take this long to complete. I'm pretty sure you could beat any Pokemon game in far less time than EA is expecting you to unlock all these characters without paying up for it. So that's ridiculous when an actual RPG takes far less to complete than this, which is supposed to be a first-person shooter. It's not supposed to be all that complex. I mean, I'm obviously not saying that FPSs aren't complex in their own way. There's obviously a lot of strategy involved, and, you know, you gotta be reflexive, you gotta be good with aiming and all that. But with an RPG, where it's actually all about the grind, when that is far lesser than this, you know you got problems. That's all I gotta say. As a father with young kids, the two things that I lack are time and money. Well, don't we all? For all players like myself, with the vertical progression of the star card system, how can we progress in game and stay on even footing with those who have hours upon hours to grind daily, and those that are willing to throw down money on loot crates for power increases via star cards and hero unlocks? Yes, throw down money. That's the problem. Because the cynic in me is saying that EA is doing that on purpose so that you'll be forced to spend money. How can I vote this more? It's been a staple in my house. Same situation here. And there are a lot of people who come from the same exact kind of experience here. The problem with this whole game as a service system is that much with any other service, you don't need more than one that does the same thing. That's why many people are having trouble reconciling Disney's announced streaming service. If you already pay for Netflix, you're not going to want to also pay for Disney's. That is very true. What Disney needs to do is partner up with Netflix. That would probably be better for them. If you're already committed to, say, Destiny 2, which is very game as a service, you're probably not going to also want to commit time and money to Battlefield 2. This is a lose-lose situation and a terrible gamble. The problem with this is that it only works for the short term. You may be able to squeeze people out of money in the short term, but over the long term, people are going to eventually hate your guts. It's like a snake oil salesman. You may be able to get it on the heat of the moment, but eventually people are going to hate you. And then nobody's going to trust you again or want to do business with you. Even if you do make good products, nobody will ever want to do business with you again. Okay. Give Reddit gold is how How can anyone like me play these awesome characters? This is fully what they intended on because they're greedy. True, I just wanted to spend this upcoming Thanksgiving break playing this without having to think, oh boy, I better use this time off to play non-stop, because it's the most progression I'm going to make in a long time. Also worth noting that Overwatch is going to be free for this upcoming weekend. If you support a game that's doing things right, this is the one. Also, I would recommend Team Fortress 2. I mean, yeah, Team Fortress 2 has weapons, they have equipment, but it's balanced to an extent. I mean, it mostly just gives you different ways of playing the game. They do nerf and buff things based on player feedback, and I do believe that in Team Fortress 2, you could probably handle it yourself with just stock. But here, it seems as though if you don't have the best stuff, you don't have the upgrades, you're in an unfair disadvantage. That's just it. It's not just a different way of playing. Destiny D2 gave away everyone every item within the game almost straight away and saw its player base drop drastically within a month. Why would EA want the same result? Beats me. I guess they don't really care about that. They don't really care about longevity. They just care about the straight up cash. I mean, they could make a great game like Doom, or Duke Nukem 3D, or Legend of Zelda, or Metroid, or Mario, or Pokemon, or pretty much every other game out there that's great. They could have it be have a longevity. They could have a legacy, a very long-standing game that could be played decades later, but they don't care about that. Why would they care about that? I mean, that takes effort. That takes guts. That takes risk. What they want is quick money. All they care about is the money in the heat of the moment. They don't care about long-term. They don't want to stretch it out. They don't want to build an empire for themselves. They just want to grub for money, which is really short-sighted. Who is this guy talking? Well, that would be the host. Me, Metroid Junkie, the guy whose live stream you're watching. He has a familiar voice. Well, if you've ever seen any of my other videos, you might know. If you know a guy named Metroid Junkie, that's me. Feels like you're being punished for being a casual gamer, unless you pay money! So true. The most hardcore might not pay, some will just quit, the rest will pay money for crates. At 4,500 hours of grinding, I doubt anyone is going to get away without paying. As a busy college student... Alright, I think I already read that. Do you have any comments? A lot of these I already read. Are you aware that it will take a gamer to replace 2 hours per day over 6 years in order to unlock all the content? Don't you think that is a bit unfair? That a large portion of content will be inaccessible for those who have other responsibilities like work, school, and a game they paid for? Will you be looking to lower the number of microtransactions in the future? Do you have any comment on the cooldown to earn credits? Will it be lowered or removed in the future? Yes, that would at least help. It wouldn't make it perfect, but at least it would help. Any concern that this will make the grind even more challenging for players who don't buy microtransactions? Yeah, they don't have any concern. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's their goal. That's their end goal. You better pay up, unless you want to get left behind. F2P is in free to play. Yeah, I mean, normally... Okay, there's that guy again. Top comment was removed. WTF. I would buy the shit out of those cosmetic loot boxes. I wanted to like this game, EA, I really do. But why do you have to make it so hard? Okay. Did they actually give any answers to any of these? I'm not actually seeing the developers answer any of these questions. Maybe if I look for posts with them in it. Alright. Are the following executive producer? Well, maybe I'll find something from him. I want to see what kind of things he's posted. I started to hear a dice. Okay, never mind. Forget that then. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to find anything there. Top 200 comments. Show 500. Sorted by the best. Come on. It's a little slow for some reason. It's probably because I'm streaming. Alright, you have a very soothing voice. I couldn't believe how professional it sounds for this relatively small channel. Thanks! I'm glad you think so. Would you believe I got this microphone from Goodwill? This guy I know, he actually said that it was a very good microphone. And I couldn't believe I found it so cheap. I got it for a few bucks. Would you believe that? Ideally, the outcome should be that the difference in power should be smaller. I have no problem in working your way up to Vader or Luke, but while playing for weeks and getting 0 kills, because at that point I would stop playing after a week. Yeah, I completely agree with you. The lowly droid should be able to match up to Vader, even if it's not realistic. I mean, there are all kinds of fighting games that pit weak characters against strong characters, and they gotta balance that crap out. Like, say there's a Dragon Ball Z fighting game and you can play as Yamcha or Mr. Satan. Obviously, those characters would never stand a chance, realistically speaking, but because they want to make it fair, those characters are suddenly on equal footing, if that makes any sense. But, of course, EA doesn't want it to be fair. They want the person who paid the money or ground up for so many hours to unlock Vader. They want him to feel like the badass he is, even if it means that people who don't play as much or don't have as much money, even if that means that they're left in the dust. Vader would whoop a droid's ass, LOL. Yeah, I know, realistically speaking. But the thing is, if you're making a game, you shouldn't worry about things like that. You shouldn't worry about whether it's necessarily realistic. You should worry about whether it's balanced. Because obviously Vader would kick a droid's ass. But if you're playing up against Vader as a droid and a droid is all you've got, then all of a sudden you're in an unfair disadvantage because you can't pay up or you can't play for hours on end to grind it out and unlock them, especially when apparently EA has a cooldown system for the credits. So you can't even keep making credits. You can't even grind it out. You just gotta wait. I feel... Okay, that is an entire month's salary for me. Yeah, so true. Let me read that. Let me read the comments to this. You mean to say that you wouldn't spend that on a single video game? Not even Star Wars? You pleb. Yeah, well, imagine if you're a child without a job and a not well-off family. You literally cannot complete this game in any reasonable amount of time. Yeah, it's sort of what a senator makes in my country. It is more than 5 times the minimum wage. Yeesh. Yeah, it's sort of what a... Okay. Said the same thing. I think that what they meant was that it takes 28 hours, takes more time than working a full-time, 48-hour-a-week job for a year. Alright, I'll be that guy. If you're making $25K annually working full-time, maybe there are better places to spend $60 to $70. Maybe you're a student and have an emergency fund and are saving for retirement, and I'm just a jackass. Yeah, you're poor. Maybe you should spend the incredibly small amount of money you have on things like, I don't know, trying to get rich. F off, you're trying to have some damn fun away from the job that doesn't pay you enough, you poor bitch. Bro, you had me dying. Oh, that's great. That's great. Cannot upvote this enough. You'll get something in the line of, we'll monitor this closely and adjust things as we progress. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they'll say. They got to give the generic corporation response to everything. We appreciate your feedback. We will take this into great consideration and make adjustments to make sure that all customers are happy, and then they don't change a damn thing. He's got a nice Let's Play, I can tell you that. They are amusing, not exactly in a professional way. Whatever, man. Because at that point, I would stop playing after 1 week. Oh, wait, I've read this already. What is this cooldown system you keep mentioning? Nathan, I haven't really played Battlefront II, so I'm not really sure. I think it's that if you're in this kind of arcade mode, or just any of the modes, and you're earning a lot of credits, that eventually it just cools down after a while, and you stop earning as much credits, or any credits at all. So basically, you gotta wait to earn more credits. So I guess it's even more like a free-to-play game, even though you have to pay $60 for the privilege, because... You know, it cools down. You can't earn credits until after a while, which is really stupid. Because then it's not even skill-based. It's basically a you gotta wait or you gotta pay up situation. And if you gotta wait that long, the game stops being fun. You would think that in a commercial game, that you would have everything available to you, that it wouldn't cheap you like this, but of course, EA has to combine the two in a completely douchey way. I like the game, I wish they take away the shit loot system. Who are you actually? You were in my recommended streams. I'm glad I was in your recommended streams. I'm Metra Junkie. I'm just a guy. Yeah, I mean, the game doesn't seem bad. It's just that the freaking loot box system, it's basically screwing it all up, especially with a credit system. Apparently, while they said that they reduced the credit cost, from what I heard, they also reduced the credit rewards you make, so it basically doesn't change a damn bit of thing. Please don't do stupid autistic voice. Man, are you aware that it will take a gamer who plays... Okay, I already read that. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find new ones here. To help with point number 1, here's a post outlining that Star Wars canon cosmetic only customization is not only possible, but plentiful and a great option for loot boxes. Top comment was removed. WTF. And it's back for now. And it's gone. Well, there goes any hope that this AMA will be useful. I would buy the shit out of the... Right. Sorry. Sorry about that. This is his normal voice. Well, hi then. Hello, Dennis. Nice to see you. And they just removed, I'm in the same boat. This is the best question. Let's hope they answer this in a non-PR way. You know they're not going to. You really think they answer anything in a non-PR way? Look, I'll give you an example of how they do this. We have taken it into consideration. We are always analyzing and managing player rewards and progression to make tweaks and changes to the game to ensure the customer experience is enjoyable and fair to all players. We will continue to make changes and monitor the feedback in the months to come, and we will assure you that we are working hard with the community to make everything work. They should go into politics because they are so good at spinning crap. Is anyone else getting confused with this AMA? Yeah, I'm getting a little confused myself because apparently these are all the questions. I'm not actually seeing any questions get answered. These three guys, unless I'm missing something, I'm not seeing any of these three guys actually answering crap. This dude is neckbeard. Okay. Oh, okay, it's still the top. Maybe I should just check the newest ones. Controversial. Okay, that'll work. Wait, maybe I should check the Q&A. You can actually check for ones that they've responded to. Q&A. Make a donation center where players who have extra can donate by their choice, get rid of in-game purchases. Well, that would make things fairer. I mean, at least donate a portion of it to charity, then that might make people feel better about paying for it, even though it would just be cosmetic. Okay, I looked for Q&A. Is it incorrect for me to assume that EA and DICE set the credit requirements before all the backlash, knowing that it would be unpopular, knowing full well you could reduce the credit requirements and make EA out to be the hero? I have loved DICE as a developer since the Bad Company 1 days, and I've always bought every Madden and have largely been okay with EA until they started their current business practice with loot boxes and microtransactions. My question is, do you as a company have the ability to take the loot crates, and microtransactions out of the game entirely? As stated before, I have other responsibilities in life, both that require my time and money, so I don't have unlimited amounts of either to spend on your game after I've already spent $60. My last question is, if DICE as a company can't stand up to EA and tell them that you will not include loot boxes and microtransactions in your games, then where does it stop for you? I can't imagine Lucasfilms and Disney would be okay with the negative publicity this game has gotten in regards to how EA has made this game into a money-centered game that takes advantage of me as a gamer/consumer. My only hope, if these things aren't taken out of the game entirely, is that Disney pulls the Star Wars property from EA once and for all. Oh yes, this is actually what I talked about at one point, and what someone else actually made a very good point of saying, that if there's one way that you can really get under EA's skin, it's just go above their head and talk to Disney and say, hey, look, we're not even into your franchise anymore because EA basically ruined it for us. Now we're associating Star Wars with loot boxes and microtransactions. You need to do something about this or we're not going to want to watch Star Wars anymore. I guarantee you do that, Disney will slap them in the face and say, what the hell are you doing? You got to get rid of this shit. You're making us look bad. You got to get rid of this crap. Seriously. All you got to do is complain to Disney enough, they will slap EA right in the face, and they will say, hey, you better know your place. You don't own Star Wars, we do. We own your ass. So you better do as we say, or you're going to get busted. We're going to find someone who will. EA would make a lot of money if they didn't focus so much on money, ironically, and more on the quality of the games. Graphics are nice, but not everything. So true. You said you have a 3DS, since you have a Pokemon Let's Play. Well, the reason why I did Pokemon Uranium is because it isn't really a Let's Play that Nintendo can monetize. How do we do that? We need to do that. Well, one way is you could just contact Disney on their Twitter, because, you know, Disney has a Twitter. Just tweet at Disney and then say, at EA is doing all this crap. We'd have a negative perception of Star Wars because of EA's bullcrap. Now we're associating it with loot boxes and microtransactions, and we're very dissatisfied customers, and I guarantee you get enough of that, Disney will bitch slap EA into reality and remind them that they're not the ones on top here. So yeah, anyway. In the spirit of making it easier for users and developers to interact, I'm compiling in these three. My job keeps me incredibly busy. As we let players earn credits offline, we needed to also find a way to make sure it wouldn't be exploited in a way that would impact multiplayer. Because of that, we made the decision to limit the amount of credits earned to stop potential abuse. We'll be looking at data continually and make adjustments to make things as balanced as possible. Well, if you want to do it like that, then why don't you just verify it by having them go online, and then you can just have them go offline again and then earn more credits. Don't have some kind of cooldown system where like, oh, you earn this much credits, you can't earn any more. You gotta stop until after a certain time has passed. Because all that does is make things even worse. My job keeps me incredibly busy. Right. Also, Ori be focusing on multiplayer map is for more arcade. Everybody talks about the economic model problematic, and that's a good thing, but there are two other issues in the actual game. The spawn and squad system. Someone actually talking about something a little different here, huh? The gameplay of Battlefield is awesome. The 4 class is adding a lot of depth into tactical gameplay, but there is no way to fully enjoy it by playing with partner or team. In more than 20H, I never saw a random squad playing together. It's quite obvious this will never work. Please reconsider that system. The maps are large and spawn randomly on the battlefield and really far from the front, and your teammate partners don't give any possibility to play with them. They die before you can join them, for example. This is something you really should improve. Is it something you will do in the future? The lack of conquest/supremacy mode is so disappointing. I can't understand why this is not in the game. Galactic Assault is great, but unbalanced. You defend or you attack, that's all. It always feels the same because it finishes quickly on the first or second step of the main objectives. It doesn't take much time and we can't enjoy the full map. If I played so much hours on Battlefront 2015, it's because Supremacy was great. The mode was always intense, gave freedom to every player to play the way he likes, and also provided each camp with a symmetric start. So my questions about this is, do you consider adding a symmetric system like Conquest or Supremacy soon in the game? That's a good question. Too bad there's no answer. No, Disney wouldn't. EA pay for the license and will already set out the terms of their intended use of the license, which Disney would have had to sign off on. Well, I'm pretty sure there's some kind of clause in there somewhere that if EA does something against the fabric or good name of Star Wars, that it nullifies the contract. Because otherwise, I mean, you know, they could make a Jar Jar Binks a character. They could force you to play as him. They could do something even worse. So, I mean, at a certain point, I'm pretty sure Disney has it in the contract. You got to respect the name of Star Wars, or we're cutting you out. They had to have had something like that in the contract. Otherwise, Disney's a bunch of idiots. If Disney doesn't have some kind of clause allowing them to opt out if EA is disrespecting the franchise, then they're just idiots. I hate to say it, but Disney's a bunch of idiots if they don't have that kind of clause. Because that would mean they basically let EA control their franchise, which is not a good idea. If you're as big as Disney, you do not want someone else to have full reign over your own franchise. I don't care if it is EA. You shouldn't give anyone the ability to tarnish your franchise without any consequence. EA would have said we were making loot boxes, otherwise EA would be idiots, LOL. Yeah, I guess that's true, but then that means Disney would have had to sign off on it. And that would mean that Disney is complacent with this. That not only is Disney aware of it, aware of the backlash, but they actually signed off on it and they were actually okay with it. That would make Disney guilty too. So, I mean, we could extend this to Disney. Playing as Jar Jar when you play versus people online in any video game, it sounds like you're playing against Jar Jar. Okay, that's funny. New Battlefront game mode, Jar Jar boss mode. Yep. Better yet, let's just play as young Anakin. Every time you go into the sand, he says, I don't like sand. It's rough and coarse and it gets everywhere. And then you get a health penalty. Or a speed penalty or something. Imagine that. EA wanted to make the game for people to come back to. They should make the single player like Kingdom Hearts, where certain missions played in the game was always available and you could come back to if you enjoyed. Or, you know, you could make it like Doom, where it's just so enjoyable that you want to go back and play it because you just want to go back and play it. I mean, I don't get that how that's hard to realize. I mean, like I said, I'm an old school gamer, so I've got there are games in the old school like Wolfenstein 3D and Doom and Quake and Rise of the Triad, and even Nightmare 3D that I'll go back to and I'll play just because I enjoy it. I mean, if you got a game that's fun to play and it's fun to go back to and play every now and again, you shouldn't have to gouge your customer and make it take over 1,000 hours to unlock everything. They should just want to play it on their own because it's a good game. That's how you do it. Thinking out loud, Battlefront crypto coin. Wow. Yeah, you use it to buy upgrades? Is that what you're thinking? Get enough of them and you can buy Darth Vader? The only reason they're even doing this AMA live is because they had a greedy plan which backfired. Now they're facing pressure from higher-ups / their executives to fix this mess. It's all for the money. Oh, yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Nothing like Dark Souls where you have to start the game again. Exactly, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't get that. I don't get this logic where we can't just make games fun enough to play that people want to play it on their own. And it's like you gotta force them to play. Or I guess it's because, I guess one reason might be because people don't have as high of attention spans as they used to. But still, I mean, even people with short attention spans would love a game like Doom. It's just because there's not much to think about it. You just pick it up and play. That's it. You can still have fun with it. I'd like to preface this by saying I feel really bad for everyone who worked on the game, came up with great ideas, or did the work to implement and test them. I feel the same way because it's these, it's these CEOs at the top that are making this shit. That they're implementing this bullshit. The developers didn't do crap. I'm pretty sure the developers are the ones getting a baseball bat to the head and saying, look, you got a tight deadline. You better get this out in 2 weeks or we're going to beat you across the head. So I feel bad for them. They must feel truly terrible to have all that discarded with the public debate, focusing on the shitty big business practices you probably had nothing to do with. I agree. Yeah, see, Quake 3 is another good one. That's a good point. Quake 3 is another one that people go back and play just because they want to play it. It's a good game. I'm pretty sure there are even people playing Quake 1 online. There are people playing Doom online. There are probably people playing Duke 3D online just because they're good games. They're very good games that you can go back and play at any point. Maybe there's not as many, but I'm sure there are some people. Games have always had some kind of manipulation to gain or reward players or to make more money, but for the most part, their core was focused on creating an engaging gaming experience. As it stands now, however, games will be less and less focused on actual gameplay and crafting a world, a story, a set of interactions, and more on extorting as much money as possible. Not to finance further games, but to satisfy shareholders and investors. How far would this have to go? How far would the focus have to shift from game to encourage further payment? How much of your artistic vision and game mechanics are you willing to sacrifice before you no longer saw yourself as game developers? Are you okay with your product containing gambling methods and being marketed to minors or people with addiction problems or uninformed people who can't spot the manipulation? Is it even within your power to abandon the current progression system in favor of an actual progressive system that rewards players for skills and efforts without paid shortcuts? That is another thing I thought about. One way that you could fix this is, if players are really good, they get a killing spree, or they do some kind of other amazing stunt, like you can get achievements and you can get credits that way. That would probably make it more fair. At least then you'd be able to get characters you actually want a lot faster. Special mention to the games I just mentioned for being open source. Mods kept them alive for so long. You can say the same for Doom. I mean, with Doom, you can pretty much make it into whatever you want. I mean, if you look at Doom Arrow, he turned Doom into pretty much everything. He made a freaking Donkey Kong, Mortal Kombat, Resident Evil 4-esque. He turned it into everything. Doom may as well be classified as its own game engine at this point with how much people have twisted it. But that's beside the point. I actually agree with this. It's become less about the game itself, become more about making money, which is why I thought about something that I defend game as someone who defends gaming as an art form, as a form of art. This actually insults me a little bit because they're no longer thinking of it as an art form. They're no longer trying to give it artistic credibility, or at least not the higher ups. They couldn't care less about artistic integrity. They just want to make their money. Funny thing is, in response to your point number one, whenever I feel like a game is manipulating me to play every day, I just quit playing that game. If I gotta play it every day, I'm just not gonna play. I'm only gonna play games that I can play when I want to play. See? Like I said, that's why people like games like Doom, because they don't force you to do that. I know I'm probably beating a dead horse at this point, but I think it bears repeating. Games that don't require you to play every day, games like Zelda or Doom, the truly great games, they couldn't care less when you play them. They don't try to force anything on you. Hell, Pac-Man is still a very popular and well-regarded game, simply because you can just pick up and play it. It doesn't care when you play it. It doesn't care about unlocking characters. Imagine if to get the power pellets you had to play Pac-Man for 1,000 hours. Who would like Pac-Man? You think anyone would be talking about Pac-Man now? You think I'd probably be talking about Pac-Man now? No, because nobody would care. Your preface is something that I haven't really heard anyone acknowledge until now, but it's true. This is a high-budget game that I'm sure hundreds of people put their best foot forward on, and now it's seeing nothing but stomping from a huge portion of the community, so I feel for those guys. I absolutely see a shift as well. Why can't they get the money by just making the game more awesome instead of making a mediocre game with microtransactions? Pac-Man Blue Ghost DLC. Oh, yeah, imagine that. Imagine if every character was just one of the characters like Blinky or something, and you had to pay to unlock the other ghosts. That would pretty much be how it is now. Or if you were playing Zelda and you had to pay to unlock the Master Sword, or to unlock the Big Goron Sword, imagine how that would be. Yeah, I'm sure that would have blown over well with players. If the people answering what amount of money will you budget for them to buy star cards so they can enjoy the game? For a kid who would get this gift as a present, or even an adult who lives paycheck to paycheck, and just has enough budget for 1 or 2 AAA game a year. When they first launched the game, they had the potential of being overwhelmed by rich people who have spent $100 to $2,000 on microtransactions up front. I don't think this is fair or fun. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, if you're going to get someone who paid up the ass to get so much more upgrades, at least don't pit them up against players who just started playing. You're going to make them stop playing. I mean, let's face it. If I bought a game and then I was just overwhelmed by players every single match, I would probably be trying to get my money back, to be honest. I would probably be trying to get a refund, because clearly that game is crap. Because if you can't get it on your own, if there's just no fair way to play, if they just give all the advantage to people who paid over $1,000 on microtransactions, that's just going to make me quit playing the game. I love you, but you got to stop saying preface like that. Sorry. Okay. On behalf of the gaming community at large, I have 3 simple questions in relation to the debacle. That is the run-up to launching Battlefront II. Firstly, why did EA see fit to create a game designed with free-to-play mechanics as a fully priced AAA game? Look at Mario Odyssey. Mario is an old classic game, but notice no loot boxes or microtransactions. Yes, and yet it's nominated for awards / gaining lots of dollars in publicity. Star Wars is no different. Don't apologize to him. Say what you want, Ming. Ignore him, do what you like. Thanks, man. Thanks to both of you. And yeah, I agree with you completely, Sam. I mean, you look at many games nowadays, and there are many franchises that still don't do that crap. I mean, Breath of the Wild has some DLC, but you're not required to get it. You don't feel like they're gonna make your game unfun if you don't buy the microtransactions. I mean, I think most of the microtransactions in Breath of the Wild are like cosmetic, or they're minor stuff. You could play the entire game and have fun with it without DLC. I know this may be such an old concept for EA, but you can still play a game, not get any DLC, and have fun with the game and have a complete experience. Why can't we do that? Why is that not a thing anymore? Why do we have to make it so that you will never have fun unless you pay for DLC? Also, just imagine a cinema with different 3D glasses that filter half of the actors. If you want to see this character, insert your card here. Oh, that is hilarious. Oh, don't give them any ideas, though. They'll probably do it. If EA's stance is that games as a service is the future model for gaming, why do we need physical release of a new game when, in theory, this should be a continuation of Battlefront? In theory, shouldn't the game be an extension of the original game so that the player base isn't split? That's a good point. Though they want to make it a games as a service model, but they still want you to buy the new game. So you have to do both. You have to buy the game and then pay for extra services. Microtransactions to catch up is fine if it's not in the game at day one. No one wants to be at a disadvantage. Once everyone is super high level, it's fine to implement a catch-up mechanic. I think the fairest way to do it would be to just have a ranking system. Like, if you win a lot of matches, your rank level goes up. If you lose a lot of matches, your rank level goes down. They randomly pitch you up against players who have the same rank level as you. That way, you know, if you're not that good at the game, you're not going to be put up against some MLG no-scope pro who's been playing for years and knows how to freaking snipe you from across the map. That would just be unfair. Update now costs $2 to downvote EA comments. LOL. Wouldn't surprise me. I'm okay with loot boxes and microtransactions if the loot boxes only contain cosmetic items such as emotes or skins. That's what I've been saying, to be honest. And like I said, TF2 has weapons and items that you could pay for, but at the same time, you can also just get them randomly while playing, and it doesn't really impact the balance of the game, because you could still play with stock weapons and it would be just fine, because in addition to having perks, those items also have downsides, so it's just a different way of playing. Yeah, I love TF2 also, Dennis. Like I said, it doesn't really affect the balance of the game because they also have their disadvantages. You could be very good with a stock character, with stock soldier or stock engineer. You could use their stock weapons and gear and just be good with them and just learn how to play well with them. It wouldn't give you an unfair disadvantage, I think. EOL are bullshit. Don't want to get no scope. Find another dedicated server or practice and get good. Best way to improve equals get your ass kicked. The only problem with that is that if you're how do you plan on getting better if you're always pitted up against players who kick your ass? Or if someone deliberately tries to get matched with you just so they can kick your ass? I mean, if you're a good player, don't you want to get paired up with players who are as good as you? Don't you want to actually get any satisfaction of beating them? Or do you just want to beat the crap out of someone who doesn't know what they're doing? Will you be my dad? Sorry, I'm afraid I can't. But I can be your friend if you want. DM123. Hi. Hi, DM123. Good to see you. Play fighting games to understand. I do play fighting games. Just not very many of them. The weapons are situational. The default are average in every situation. EA should do that too. I agree. They should do what Team Fortress 2 does. They should make any bonus weapon, they should give it downsides so that it balances out. So that, hey, it may fire faster, but it'll do less damage. Or, you know, it does more damage, but it has a smaller clip size. So that someone with a stock weapon could still potentially beat you of the same skill set. Will EA make Battlefront F2P and refund all current purchases? It's got to be said, this is a free-to-play title. Given the structure of the rewards, it's also pay-to-win currently. If the progression can be reworked and a subscription model implemented, then either provide every physical purchaser a used sub to the service that is Battlefront, or cosmetics equal to the value. This is a far better option than gouging players' wallets in exchange of a poorly constructed Star Wars experience. It seems to me EA were never confident in the title doing well, so have created a system for maximizing short-term revenue over long-time player retention. Yeah, that's a very good point. By the way, have the loot crates been fixed in the Reddit MMA? I don't know. My job keeps me busy. Are you aware that it will take... Actually, okay, nobody responded to this, unfortunately. A lot of people responded to that. 433 replies. Are you aware that it will take a gamer over 6 years? Don't you think it's been unfair? I want to preface... Okay, I obviously read that one. I, for one, would pay $20 to $30 in total for cosmetic loot boxes. Star Wars is filled with so many different species and different squads in each faction. What is the reasoning behind loot boxes affecting gameplay instead of just having cosmetic loot boxes? Is it too late to change the system? You could make so much money on this alone. That is a very good point. Star Wars has so many cosmetic options that it's just crazy. I mean, you could even make yourself look like Jabba or something, or Boba Fett. Imagine how cool that would be. Like, if you could have a Boba Fett helmet, and you know, that would be in a loot box. Or you have his armor, and that would be in a loot box. You have a jetpack, and that's in a loot box. You maybe have, I don't know, maybe the dancers at the bar. Maybe that'll be an option. Maybe you could be, I don't know, I'm just spitballing. Anyway, thank you for agreeing to answer questions. Do you believe that DICE's brand has been damaged by its association with EA as a result of this controversy? I'm going to go with yes, unfortunately. When you yourself play games, do you prefer to play ones with microtransactions and associated mechanics like loot crates, or without them? Definitely without them, me personally. Okay, what do you guys think? EA's Battlefront 2 or the Witcher trilogy while saving £10? I would probably go with the Witcher trilogy, to be honest. At least you're not being gouged. And at least the Witcher trilogy is actually good. You know, I'm not saying Star Wars Battlefront 2 isn't good. I'm saying at least you're not going to get gouged out. You can have a full experience without paying up the ass for it. What, in your view, is the most effective method by which gamers could convince a large company to stop including microtransactions and associated mechanics like loot crates in the game it sells? DICE brand is damaged because they are... Sweetie. Oh, no comment. 30 minutes into the AMA and only one answer. This will be great. Here are the AMAers. Okay. Can you link to the answer? I haven't seen any. Okay, click on the profiles in the body of the post. You can see the responses there. Okay. I see. Just give me a sec. Okay. They actually are answering some. So, finally, after an hour and 20 minutes, I'm going to actually get to their responses. This is something we hear a lot and will continue to consider. Yeah, that's not a manufactured response right there. Oh, this is something we hear a lot, and we will take into consideration your concerns. Bull crap. We know there are folks out there who want to either run their own competitive events or find a safe space to take screenshots or create crazy videos. These are things we're excited to see you all do, so continue to be on our radar. Right now, credits you earn in-match do take into account your performance. It also takes into account the time you spent in-match. Currently, it's skewed more towards your time spent in-game, and we have some work to do to make it clear that the performance does impact your credit earned. Okay, well, I guess it isn't all bad. There is some merit. This change was done prior to launch, something that happened just before I was interviewed by Angry Joe, and I missed the update since I was traveling. Sorry for the confusion. Regardless, this is something that we're looking to continue to improve on, both in presentation. Jumping to this AMA is just one of the ways we want to start to repair the bridge to our players. Lots of players told us that we shouldn't do this, as it wasn't going to go like we hoped. That said, we are committed to continuing this dialogue, even if we have to face some harsh feedback. We welcome the discussions and criticisms. That is such a corporate answer. Man, That is one of the most manufactured responses I've ever seen. I'm sorry, Vestal Viking, I don't wish you ill will, but come on, you can come up with a better response than that. That looks like you copied and pasted. Oh, well, we are very committed to the customer, and we know we will face some harsh feedback, so we welcome all discussions and criticisms, and we'll continue to be here and on our forums talking to our community as we strive to work with you to make a Star Wars game you enjoy. That sounds like you could copy and paste it, and it would apply to just about any answer that's even remotely related to that. It's just so copy and paste. It doesn't sound like he actually tried. Honestly, I had very high expectations, not for the game, but for the campaign as well. That's a hoax. The refund button is available on release of the game. I can post a link to the video answering if it's not really clear. EA should go into politics. I actually said that, Yoda. I said that earlier, that I think EA should go into politics because they're so good at spinning crap. Absolutely, we're focusing more and more on ways to communicate with our community. Another manufactured response. This AMA is just the beginning. We're exploring things like it that we would like to do to a frequent video series, as well as having a more frequent presence on Reddit and our official forums. We've already started to tweak our existing systems based on the data we've seen from our Play First trial players, as well as your feedback. The goal with Star Card class level requirements initially was to make you go wide in the type of cards you get before you go deep in specializing which ones you want to upgrade. That said, we're hearing loud and clear that you'd prefer a system where playing a class or character specifically will upgrade its level instead, so we're looking to make that change as soon as possible. Wow. You can't repair the bridge to the players when you yourself made a shitty bridge to begin in the first place, and it wasn't until enough people said F that for you to fix something. So true. As we want to let players earn credits offline via a more relaxed game mode, we needed to also find ways to make sure it wouldn't be exploited in a way that would impact multiplayer. I think I already read that. Hi everyone, I'm Paul Kesslin, one of the multiplayer producers. My main responsibility revolved around the troopers. Okay, I think that's enough of that. Let's see if there are any of the other ones that I can find that were answering questions. Okay, that was... Okay, let's try Firewall. Let's see if Firewall has any less manufactured responses that don't sound like they were copied and pasted on the spot. Yes, always. We're going to be looking at the system from the back end, making changes depending on how we see people progressing. If it looks through the crafting parts aren't being given out quickly enough, we'll look into changes to fix that. We know our players are looking for more direct paths and getting the thing they really want, so we'll look to provide that as quickly as possible. We're always looking out for the community, aren't we? I think crates can be a fun addition as long as you don't feel forced to engage with them in order to progress. I feel that's where the issue is with our game right now, and that's what we'll look to solve as quickly as we can. We're looking to add additional ways to progress your favorite character or class while allowing crates to be a fun thing for those who want to engage with them. Yeah. I was basically sounding like Mr. Optimism, sir. The whole loot box problems with this, and EA just reached the news channel here on Belgium. Nice. Actually went out of my way to buy Inferno Squad book, which I highly recommend. Honestly, better than the campaign, and then Aiden turns to the rebels. Cool. Mainly through matchmaking, we take into account not only your gameplay skills, but also inventory and time played when we match players together in multiplayer. You should not ever be match made together with players who are much better than you. Well, unless they bought DLC, in which case we want them to have an unfair advantage. Ultimately, your effectiveness is going to come down to skill, not the star cards that you have. If it doesn't feel that way, we'll see it on our side too. Our data will tell that story and we'll make adjustments. Well, we're making adjustments. We're looking for customer feedback. Yeah. Not copy and paste at all. We're looking at results from millions of matches and we'll be continuously rebalancing items, unlocks, and matchmaking to create a fair, fun experience for all of our players. Beyond that, all star cards have maximum values regardless of how they're unlocked. Nothing is too late. As you've noticed, we weren't able to get customization system into the game in time for launch. I'm really having artists and designers walk up to me today showing me cosmetic stuff they really want to get out there. I think we have probably the best looking clone troopers ever made, and I know players really want to customize them. I know I do. I can't really commit to a date just yet, but we're working on stuff, and I believe it will change the game tremendously on all levels. Wow, one of the few things that doesn't seem like it's copy and paste. And it's actually one that's addressing something different than the actual expected objectives. They need a CEO and face cam answering the top-rated questions like the gambling comment and such. Ha ha ha. Oh, yeah, you know that's not going to happen because they would have this awkward look on their face as, oh, we got to copy and paste this. Oh. Hey all, my name is Dennis and I work as the design director. I hear you will be looking at making changes to the progression system based on the feedback. Oh, we're looking for player comments and feedback. While I agree with being calm and respectful, I still encourage you all to be honest and make sure you get your questions answered. I have zero wish to flip any narrative. Yeah, I believe that. And make you guys look crazy or unreasonable. My hope is that by answering all your questions, I can make you guys feel better about the game moving forward. This is my only intention. Forcing players to play the campaign to unlock Iden or giving players enough credits after completing the campaign to unlock Iden makes no difference in terms of revenue. What it does do is it gives players who do not want to witch the campaign a way to get Iden through multiplayer. Back in Battlefield 4, we forced players to complete the campaign in order to unlock a great gun for multiplayer, and our players hated that we forced them to do that. That's why we decided not to do that in this game. That being said, if you want to play the campaign, there's a multiplayer benefit for you once you're done. Yeah, I'm not too upset about that. Yes, everything is still grindable. It's up to us to make sure the grind is fun and not overwhelming. I realize the popular opinion is to presume creating boring, overwhelming grind is the way to get people to spend more money, but in reality it isn't. Everything wins if players are having fun. That's the main thing always. Yeah, and if they're willing to spend money, you know, so much the better. Definitely Iden. No need to thank me for anything. I will continue to address people's grievances. I don't have the average data yet as the game isn't live, but the earn rate is based on performance. We'll tweak those numbers once we see players start to log in to make sure earning credits feels fun and right. Totally understand and respect that. Let me just read this. Throw in some Castlevania music for your background. Nah, I'll just keep using this sci-fi music that I got from Incompetech. There will never be a true die-hard Imperial just as Iden Versio. For sure. Doesn't mean I can't dream. Imperial losers will be very pissed off at the campaign, just warning. What's your main on TF2? Also fight me. I don't think I really have a main, because I just go all over the place. I try to figure out what's best for the current situation, although I will admit my closest to a main is probably the medic. Just because there are a lot of situations where you can really change the tide of a battle by being a decent medic who actually moves around and tries to heal people. I thought it was going to be about the rise of the First Order after the Empire. Instead, it's some basic-ass story. Funny. Like I said, I never really played the game, so I wouldn't know. Maybe I should look into the campaign. I know, right, Sergeant Yoda? So, I'm guessing it doesn't have Yoda in it. I can't speak for everyone at the company or even the studio, but for me personally, I don't do code for anything that I post online. And at work, I speak frankly about design or business decisions that are being made. Sometimes I get it the way I want to, sometimes I don't. Throughout my time on Battlefront 1 and now 2, however, I feel I've proven that if there's something about the game that players don't like, I work my hardest to fix it as soon as I can. Translation: if I get permission from EA to change it, I might just change it if you're lucky. I'm here to kill this rumor. The inclusion of one hero does not in any way remove the potential inclusion of any other hero. You heard it here first. They're called rocket troopers, actually. Haha, that's for another time, maybe. Okay, Imperial jump troopers. Not sure if anyone posted this, but they thought about adding IG-88 but couldn't in time. I can tell you that story now, although getting a droid biped was proving tricky with the time frame of DLC. I actually felt that IG, albeit he had a slightly larger cult following the Dengar, with Simon Pegg bringing Dengar to life in Clone Wars, was just more there to make fun intros and emotes and stuff from. You gotta take a dirt nap, etc. Simon did a really great job. That, we really wanted a heavy blaster hero for diversity. I don't know, I really like how Dengar came together. I like IG too, but I don't regret going with Jengar. Iden is a peng. No comment. I think you mean Plague. P-L-E-G. Nyan, Num, and Greedo weren't originally planned for the Ido Rim DLC, but the devs wanted there to be 2 heroes for it. Request for Death Troopers. I can't confirm the Death Troopers will have the distorted comm devices from Rogue One. I feel evil as hell playing them. Okay. Wait, is this not part of the AMA? Because this is just getting into generic crap. So forget that. I'm gonna go with the final one. Waz Dice, since he's the executive producer. I hope they will add Droideka. Maybe. Regarding the second part of this question, I think this concern has come in loud and clear. We're going to continue adjusting the crate systems, content, progressive mechanics to hit a point that gives players a great balanced experience on all skill levels. We're working on expanding the number of ways that players can progress, putting more control into their hands, and providing more options and choice in the way people play. There's not much of the game that we wouldn't revisit to improve the game for as many players as possible. I wonder how many times you had to copy-paste that several times. I'm sure that was really hard. Oh no, here's a new question about the game. Copy-paste, 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 copy-paste. I'm sorry, but these don't feel like they're personalized at all. They just feel like that's something you could just copy and paste. Whenever someone says anything about the DLC Invader, you just say, oh, well, copy paste. Copy paste. We don't have to do anything else. Just copy paste. You could, pretty sure you could copy paste that into a wide variety of questions and it would fit just fine. I'm just messing around. I know it's not really copy and paste. You can actually see that it's not copy paste, but it reads like it would be. It's just a standard corporate response that is as generic as possible. I'm watching multiple streams, for sure it's copy and paste. Yeah, it probably. Yeah, most likely. That is definitely something that sounds like they would just copy and paste and maybe change 1 or 2 words for it. Huh. Alright. We went in a more relaxed game mode. I see they finally have it in a question and answer format, so that's helpful. Question is too long. Read it, the link, please. EA and DICE. Thank you all very much for this stellar work. The original post. Alright. I think that means it's over. Does that mean it's over now? Alright. How long did it take to finish it? Yeah, I haven't played it, unfortunately. I wouldn't mind checking it out, I just haven't. Okay, 4 hours. That's pretty low, but I guess that's what you gotta expect nowadays. I'm not sure if this means that the stream is over or not. Where it says, thank you very much for this stellar work. I think that means that they're done giving questions now. So, we've probably seen about as much as we're going to see. Not much, but okay. Yeah, that really doesn't sound like much. Even for nowadays, which is unfortunate because, and then you got a lot of games that got to pad it out, which means they lied saying it will be 5 to 8 hours. Yo, wow, maybe it'll be 5 to 8 hours if you just sit there staring at stuff the entire time and you just take your sweet ass time, or maybe you suck and just die a lot. EA lied? Nah, why would they do that? Of course EA is honest and trustworthy. Just trust your overlords. Everything will be okay. Alright. Alright, thanks, man. Well, my Steam name is the same as my YouTube name. Just look for Metroid Junkie. I should be there. You should be able to find me pretty easily. By the way, after Pilio mission, bullshit happens. Sub, man. Good overview. Thanks, Ryan. I'm glad you liked it. And I hope the rest of you enjoyed it too. Let me see how many people are actually watching this. I'm sorry, I haven't really done a live stream before. I've done live streams on this channel before, but it was just with someone else talking, with True Capitalist Ghost talking. This is probably the first stream that I've done where I'm talking myself. And it's quite interesting. 17 people are watching. It's pretty good. Anyway, thank you all for watching this stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And that is all. I'll see you next time. Have a good day.